Hello, participants. I welcome you all for this online certificate course on problem solving techniques in fundamental physics. My name is Dr. Madhavi Thakur Desai, and I am associate professor in physics. I am head of Department of Physics in BK Birla College, Kalyan, which is in Maharashtra. We got overwhelming response for this course, and students from diverse backgrounds have joined this course. There are students who wish to appear for JEE, so those are around 12 in 12th standard. There are some students who would like to appear for JAM examination or ISER entrance or some other examination which is after graduation. Some of the participants are already postgraduate and would like to appear for SET or NET examination. I'm very happy some of the participants have joined just to learn a few things, and there are a few teachers also. So it was a big challenge that what should be the starting point. Then I thought, if I am going to do a course on electrostatics, then it is better to start with very fundamental concepts. You might be knowing them, but it's always good to brush up a few fundamental things. I've been teaching this course for last several years, and I have found that students find this course a little difficult. They are not much comfortable with this. So I have a feeling that if I give more focus or if I be focused on fundamentals, then slowly this course becomes easier. And therefore I decided to start with or equip you with some of the basic techniques. And in this lecture, I will be talking about cylindrical and spherical coordinate system. Some of you must be already knowing these systems, but those who are not knowing, for them and to start it for this course, to start with this course, I have decided to start with cylindrical and spherical coordinate systems. There is a reason why I want to start with this, which I will explain soon. So, objective of this presentation is to discuss cylindrical and spherical coordinates and solve one or two problems wherein we can go from coordinate cylindrical coordinates to spherical, or spherical to cylindrical, or Cartesian, vice versa. A little warm up exercise, you can say. I'm little new to this technology, so there might be a few things which wherein you will find I'm little uncomfortable. In nature, we always see these kinds of uh, uh, structures, which are circular, semicircular. These figures are picked up from some internet, so that I'm giving the due credit, even though it is not mentioned here. I'm giving it orally. Again, this is a circular structure. This is some building. Even you can see the shape of the cars. This is, I don't know what this oval shaped, tilted oval or something like that. This is a spherical structure. Now, actual presentation begins from this point. As I have seen, or everybody is saying, that in nature we hardly come across uh, something which is exactly like a sphere, something which is exactly like a rectangle, something which is exactly square in nature. We always come across, various shapes, like this brush, this comb, this this kind of a structure, this kind of a structure. Now, why I am showing you all these pictures? Because these all can be charged. Who is there who has not experienced a shock, sometimes opening the doorknob, or sometimes your hair getting pulled away like this if you are combing, or sometimes they get attached with the balloon like this. So, in electrostatics and further in magnetostatics, we come across various shapes like this glass rod, this bottle brush, this comb, then this carpet like thing. So we have to deal with these structures, and rectangular system, that is Cartesian coordinate system, cannot be used for such objects. Therefore, we need cylindrical or spherical coordinate system to tackle various situations in electrodynamics, electrostatics, and magnetostatics. So let us start with cylindrical coordinates. This figure I have picked up from I think Wolfram Maths. So I'm just giving the credit. Now you will see I have got X, Y, and Z axis, which you are quite familiar with. Then I have a new three axis. This is Z. This Z is nothing but parallel to this. So this Z axis remains the same. Then you have this R, or you can see this is a unit vector associated with it. So this is my R axis. And there is one more, which is theta, which talks about the angle. That is what is very useful, because if I have something like this particular cylinder, then if I change this theta, the angle will be different, the shape of the cylinder will be different. If I change this r, again the shape of the cylinder will be different. So this addition of angle is beauty of both cylindrical and spherical coordinate system. So what are basically the cylindrical coordinates? These are basically the extension of the polar coordinates. Polar coordinates are in 2 dimensions, cylindrical coordinates are in 3 dimensions. In polar coordinate system, a point on a plane is determined by a distance from a reference point and an angle from a reference direction. In cylindrical coordinate system, we add one more dimension, that is z. So r theta is a polar representation of the projection P in the xy plane, and z is directed distance from r and theta to P. So in cylindrical coordinate system, instead of x, y, z, we have r theta z. So if I wish to convert rectangular to cylindrical coordinates or vice versa, we use following conversion guidelines. What are these conversion guidelines? If I want to explain if I want to write what is x, then that is equal to r cos theta, y is r sin theta, and z remains the same. Similarly, if I want to express x and y in terms of r, then it is x squared is equal to r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. Tan theta comes out to be y by x, and z remains the same. So point P is either in rectangular is xyz, or in cylindrical is r theta z. So I can express both ways. So let's see how. Cylindrical to rectangle, as I explained, just remember this. X is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta, and z is equal to z. And rectangular to cylindrical, r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared, tan theta is equal to y by x, and z is equal to z. While we solve problems in electrostatics, we will be often using this cylindrical and rectangular coordinate system. So be familiar or try to memorize these equations. And the point which we call origin is called as pole 0, 0, 0. So let us see one small example. Convert the point r theta z, which is expressed as 4 pi by 6 into 3. I'm sorry, 4 pi by 6 and 3 into rectangular coordinates. So use now our formulae. What are our formulae? You have x is equal to r cos theta, you have got y is equal to r sin theta, and you have got z is equal to z. So let's use x is equal to r cos theta, r is 4, theta is 5 pi by 6. So 4 cos theta, that is equal to 4 cos 5 pi by 6 is minus root 3 by 2. So this comes out to be minus root 3 by 2. Y is r sine theta. So r is 4. Sine theta is sine 5 pi by 6 is equal to 4 into 1 by 2, that is equal to 2. Z remains unchanged, so Z is equal to 3. So in rectangular coordinates, the point is xyz, which was r theta z was 4, 5 pi by 6 and 3. Here xyz is equal to minus 2 root 3, 2 and 3 as shown in the figure. So this is my z-axis, this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. So point P will now have coordinates minus 2 root 3, 2 and 3. Whereas r theta phi, this is my r, this is my angle theta, not phi, I'm sorry, and z. So r was 4, theta was 5 pi by 6 and 3. So this is how r theta z gets converted into xyz. Now, from cylindrical coordinates of point 1, 2, 3 to Cartesian. Just a simple one. You have got x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2 and z is equal to 3. Now, tan theta is y by x, which will give me theta is equal to tan inverse of 2. That comes out to be 63 degrees 26 minutes. Then this is just this is unwanted. You can ignore this. Then r squared is x squared plus y squared is equal to r. So it is under root 1 squared plus 2 squared. So that is root 5. So the cylindrical coordinates of the point 1, 2, 3 becomes root 5. That is r. Theta is this one. You can be 63 degrees 26 minutes. You can ignore this and 3. I'm just keeping this slide open for you for a couple of seconds. Now, cylindrical coordinates are especially convenient for representing cylindrical surfaces and surfaces of revolution with z-axis as the axis of symmetry, as shown in following figure. So this is a cylinder whose equation is x squared plus y squared is equal to 9 and r is equal to 3. So if I extend r, this will become more fatter. Then paraboloid. It is x squared plus y squared is equal to 4z and r is 2 root z. So if I increase z, sorry, then this shape will change. Then I have a cone with expression x squared plus y squared is equal to z squared with r is equal to z. And I have a hyperboloid. X squared plus y squared minus z squared is equal to 1. That is r squared is equal to z squared plus 1. So all these types of shapes will be it will be easier for us to use cylindrical coordinates to solve anything associated with this. So vertical planes containing z-axis and horizontal planes also have simple cylindrical coordinate equations as shown in the figure. Every time it shouldn't be like it has to be a cylinder or a cone or a parabola or a hyperbola. It's simple plane wherein theta is equal to c. It can be expressed like this. This is my theta is equal to c. So if I just tilt this plane on this side, then the theta will be different. It's like opening the door. If you want to know the coordinates while you are opening the door, your theta is going to change. This and this is going to be same. Just imagine an opening door. Then you have a horizontal plane. Z is equal to c. It's just a plane, but it is a horizontal plane which is here, and I am expressing this particular plane in terms of a cylindrical coordinates, which comes out to be z is equal to c. Now let us go for spherical coordinates. Again, I give photo credit to Wolfram Maths. It's a very good site. You can also visit. Then you are again